Hey there folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the S.H.Figuarts Gokai Yellow action figure set from Bandai. This set was a Tamashii web exclusive and was first available in 2012. I do not know what the original selling price for this set was, but the going price these days on Mandarake is about 7,000 yen, which is how much I paid for this set on Mandarake back in 2012. Taking a look at the packaging here, you can see that Gokai Yellow is encased in this packaging that's typical of the Gokaija packaging, except for here along the side it's not embossed or in foil lettering. I think it's because it's a web exclusive. They have no need to pretty it up for retail. So it's just in simple print here along the side. And you can see Gokai Yellow in the packaging, and she comes with a lot of accessories, including a Gokai Darin, which for the regular retail Gokaija sets, which were Gokai Red, Gokai Green, and Gokai Blue, the Darins were separate items that were sold as part of the first release of those sets. But for the web exclusive here of Gokai Yellow, the Darin is included, and you can see it back there. So this makes it the packaging here a little bit thicker than the regular retail packaging of Gokai Red, Green, and Blue. Here we have the back of the packaging with Gokai Yellow in various poses there and wielding all of the various accessories that's included in the set. And we have some print here at the top, simple style and heroic action, and S.H.Figuarts logo at the top corner there. And then we have some of this print in Japanese there that I cannot read along the top. I don't know if that's a translation of what's printed here in English or not. And we have here Kaizo Sentai Gokaija Gokai Yellow there. And we have more print in Japanese that I cannot read, unfortunately. And even more down below. Here on this side, we have a nice pose of Gokai Yellow. And behind the figure is a print of a map, I guess a pirate treasure map, because that was the theme of Gokaija, was the pirate theme. So it's kind of cool that they have this map in the background there. And we have here down below Kaizo Sentai Gokaija Gokai Yellow, and more print in Japanese. Now we'll be right back and have the contents of this set out of the box. Alright, we have Gokai Yellow out of the packaging, and as you can see there is quite a lot of accessories included with this figure set. In fact, I think this is probably the set I have that has the most accessories to go with the figure so far, and we're just going to go ahead and take a look at all of these accessories first. We'll start out with this here. This is basically a pamphlet sheet showing you all of the accessories, such as the hands, the skirt, and the saber and gun, and all of the mobirettes and keys, all included in this set, and how they're utilized. And then down below in this second half of the sheet is all written in Japanese. Unfortunately, I can't read any of it. But that's the sheet there. And next thing we're going to take a look at is the Darin here. And essentially it's the same as the other seated Darin that come with some of the other Gokaija figures, except for this one is cast in yellow, and it's in two pieces, one for the chair itself, and then one for the piloting device or helm's wheel for the mecha that Gokai Yellow pilots. We'll take a look at the chair first. You can see it's got some nice gold paint with some silver and back on the actual chair itself. It's pretty cool, and you can also see some of the sculpted work on here, such as what look like rivets around the head area of the chair. And you can see on the other side here, you got Gokai Yellow's, I guess, or actually it's really the Gokaija emblem on there with the yellow background to note that this chair actually belongs to Gokai Yellow. And you got some tube work here to act as a support for the chair, and also some more sculpted work here on the base of the chair. Pretty cool. You can even see some more what look like rivets going into the floor there. Pretty neat. And then you have this front half of the Darin, basically like the helmsman's wheel for the mecha that Gokai Yellow pilots. And it's got a moving part here for the helm's wheel. And also some what look like displays here on the face of the wheel. And this is supposed to be like a window area right here for certain statuses when she's piloting the mecha or combining with other mecha. And pretty cool. And you can see some more design work here beneath the wheel. It's actually kind of cool. And on the other side here, you got the Gokaija symbol again. And more detail work on the side here. It's very nice. It's nicely painted on this gold trim on this area here. It's very well done. And you got also more tube work here, and sorry about that, I need to put this on silent. And you got pedals on near the floor with some sculpted line work there. Actually quite neat. And they don't articulate, they're just sculpted that way. But it's neat to have this what look like bellows type of thing here. Pretty neat. And then more detail on the front. Very cool, and the figure when you have it posed can sit on this chair and pilot the Darin. And yeah, it's really cool to have all the other Darin lined up. I believe Gokai Yellow sits on the far right over here. On here, if you had all the Darin lined up, I believe she sat on the right. I could be wrong. I have to watch an episode again to remember. But that was the Darin. Next thing we're gonna go ahead and take a look at are all of these extra pairs of hands. The set comes included with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full pairs of hands and 3 special hands, which are pretty cool. The hands that are on the figure are a pair of closed fists, and we're just going to go through each of these pairs of hands here. We have a pair of open palmed with fingers joined together on there. Pretty cool. And then we have a pair of I guess pistol gripping hands here. And you can see how the fingers are posed to be able to grip the Gokai guns, which is cool. And then you have a pair of, I guess, relaxed hands on there. 2 of the fingers, the middle 2 fingers are joined together on this particular pair of hands. And then you have a pair of gripping hands, I guess standard gripping hands, or maybe the Gokai Saber gripping hands there. The fingers are kind of curled to grip the Gokai Saber there. And then you have these 3 extra action hands for various gripping and posing. We have here probably one of her signature hand poses when doing the henshin, in the transformation into her Gokai Yellow. And it's got basically not like a victory pose, but really just 2 fingers out, Yeah, she uses that when transforming from Luca into Gokai Yellow. And you can see that. That's pretty cool. And then you have these two gripping hands here. One to grip the Mobirates, this one here. And then you have one here to grip probably the Ranger key. And I've tried to fit it in there and it does fit. So I'm going to guess that's the Ranger key hand. So that's pretty neat. A lot of pair of hands. And some special hands on there. Next thing we'll take a look at here is the Mobirates. Or the Gokai Cellular, you could say. They use it for different functions, like calling the each other, or calling the ship, the Gokai Galleon, or transformation into different Sentai using different Ranger keys. So various uses, but I like to call it a Gokai Cellular because it looks almost like a cellular phone. It's got a number pad sculpted down below. Has a hole in here where you can insert Ranger keys if she wanted to transform into Gokai Yellow, or various other Sentai if she had that particular Sentai's key. And then you have the Gokaija symbol at the top here, which on the show does animate, or not animate, but it does move. It switches into position, but this here is in fixed position. So it's got a really nice sculpt, a very detailed sculpt. You can even see the individual buttons on this Mobirates. And here's the other side. And I'm not sure if you could see it on the video, but this silver area here is actually sculpted with a skull and sword, so it's which is like the Gokai symbol on there. It's very fine detail on there, so it's very neat. Now, the figure set does come with two sets, or two versions of her Ranger key. Ranger key specific to Gokai Yellow. We have a fully extended key here, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick up the detail on this, but it's very cool. It's in the shape of a figure of that of Gokai Yellow, and on the other side you can see the metal portion of the key, which is covered in the front by her legs, what would be her legs. It's actually kind of neat. And then they also have another version of the same key, but with the legs folded up. I'm not sure if I can get this into view. This is the back of the key. You can see the head and the torso, and on the top edges you can see the folded up legs. The folded up legs because the legs fold up to expose the metal area of the key, which you can insert into the Mobirates. And with this version of the key with the legs folded up, obviously it's not a metal part of the key, but really a peg, so that you can peg this into the Mobirates, like so, which is pretty neat. Let me see if I can get it into focus here. It's kind of difficult there. There we go. And it's very, very cool. You can see how that's in there. So for poses, when you want Gokai Yellow posing to enter a transformation into Gokai Yellow, that's very, very cool. Now, next thing we're going to go ahead and take a look at is one of her weapons. Basically all of the Gokaija members have, and that's the Gokai gun. And it's in the shape of a flintlock pistol, and it's very, very cool. You can see all of the small, fine detail on here, and it's actually very nice. And you can see the Gokaija symbol again sculpted in silver, and then you have this very metallic blue background on there. It's very nice. And then you have some fine detail here on the pistol grip, which is very nice and painted very well. And of course you have the barrel of the pistol here with a hollowed out end there, so that's kind of cool. On there, of course, you got the trigger there, and This particular Gokai gun has a cylinder that actually moves up and down, and you can see the metal cylinder here where they can load her Ranger Key into there to produce what's called the final wave. Basically a all-out, a blast attack to take down a bad guy. And it's pretty cool that it swings up and down to load. You'd swing it up to load the key into the barrel of the cylinder, and then you would push it down to produce the final wave. Now what's really cool is that this barrel or cylinder here is detachable. You can just pull it out, but I'm not going to pull it out right now. And you can swap it out with this here. This is a different version of the cylinder. It's just sculpted with the Ranger Key in there. You can see it's a little bit longer than what's on the gun. Just comparing this, comparing the size of the barrel, and you can see here sculpted at the top of the cylinder is a Ranger Key. It's unfortunately in silver. They wish they had painted that portion yellow and black so that you could tell that there is a Ranger Key in there from a distance. But if you look at it from farther away, it just looks like the cylinder by itself, which is unfortunate. It would have been nice to have painted that key portion of the cylinder. So that's really cool. And the hand, the gripping hand for the Gokai gun grips this gun very well. So that's kind of cool. Next thing we're going to take a look at are various versions of her blade. And we'll take a look at the standard blade here, and our saber, I should say, Gokai Saber. And all of the Gokaija have a saber as well, so which is really cool. You can see the details on that is very nice. You got the Gokaija symbol there again, and you can see the fine sculpt and paint into the saber. It's very cool. You got the saber grip here, and at the end here is another Gokaija symbol, and this is used to, I believe, to activate the final wave once it's loaded, and you push like a button. They usually slam the pistol and the blade together to activate the final wave on that. So it's pretty cool. And of course you got the metal portion of the blade. It's of course just sculpted plastic, and it's a hard plastic, by the way. And it's got a very fine tip at the end. It's very, very cool, and very, very neat. And this one also has a cylinder that you can load as well, and they also provide a different version of the cylinder, which is right here, one with a sculpted key on it as well, and these are detachable from the saber. So very cool that they include these alternate versions of the cylinder. So that's the standard blade. Very nice. Now she also has a different version of the blade here, with this cord attached. It's really I think a metal wire on here that's actually posable, and it's one of her special attacks that she uses. Basically it's like a cord that she whips around. Probably the cord extends from inside the handle here, and this very thin metal wire here is posable. I'm not going to pose it too much because I'm afraid of actually breaking off the wire. But you got a grip here that she can hold the blade, and if you pose the wire, you can have her swinging the blade around. And on the show, she had a pair of these because the Gokaija like to exchange weapons, and Gokai Yellow was primarily a saber user, and one of her special attacks was this extended saber attack. And she, when she used this saber attack, she had a pair of these. So I'm gonna guess that probably the Gokai Pink set has a blade like this, since they only included one in this set. So if Gokai Pink were to provide that other version, she would have a pair like on the show. So that's pretty cool. And also this version of the blade here, which is a joined version. Basically, she took the two ends of the saber and joined them together to form this one double-edged blade, double-ended blade, which is pretty cool on there. You can see some more detail on the bottoms of the blades there, and very neat. And the barrels, or the cylinders here, are not movable. They don't move up and down like what's on the regular saber here, but that's okay. But it's really cool, nice special attack blade that she uses to defeat foes. Okay, and the final accessory items included with the Gokai Yellow set is this alternate skirt for Gokai Yellow, and I call it the action skirt. It's in 3 pieces here, and it's designed to be able to better articulate the legs for the Gokai Yellow in more extreme poses. Probably for the Darin, when she sits on the Darin, make it easier for the skirt to be manipulated. And we'll go into this in a little bit when we get to the figure and the skirt area. But it's comes in 3 pieces here, and they're designed to be able to free up the legs on here. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and take a look at the Gokai Yellow figure. And it's actually pretty cool. Of course, this is the female designed Gokai figure, and it's pretty cool. And I have to say that Gokai Yellow is my second favorite character on the show, behind Gokai Blue. And I really like Gokai Yellow as a character on the show, and it's pretty cool. And looking at the figure here, it's actually quite nice. And the figure overall, I have to mention, I forgot to mention, is a little bit shorter in stature compared to the male versions of the Gokai figure. So it's about half a head shorter. And I don't have the other figure at the moment, a male figure, to pose next to it. But it's about a half a head shorter than the male figures. But looking at more detail, Gokai Yellow here, and starting off with the head design, and of course you got that traditional piratey themed headgear here. You got, it's in a sort of a design of a tricorn hat, or a pirate hat, you could say. Pretty cool. And you got the Gokai symbol here on the forehead area, dead center. And you got the visor here in black. Although I noticed on all of the Gokai figures, the gloss between the helmet and the visor are a bit reversed on the figures. I believe that the helmets themselves are a little bit flatter in color, while the visor was more reflective. But for the figures, it's the other way around, where the helmet area is a bit glossier, while the visor area is a little bit flatter. But that's just one thing I noticed, but it's not that big a deal to me too much. But looking at some other details of the head, you can see the gold trim throughout the helmet. It's actually quite nice, even down into the finer areas here, where the black and gold get very close together on her particular design of her helmet. So that's kind of cool. It's done very, very well on here. Looking at the rest of the figure here, you got the suit of the Gokai members with the gold lapel type area here along the torso, which is cool. And then you have the Gokai symbol again in the middle, and you got the flipped up collar that was traditional of the Gokai members. And one side is silver on the inner portion of the collar, while the outer portion is gold, and you can see how the gold mixes in with the shoulder area on the suit. Pretty cool, and there's even fine detail of the Gokaija symbol at the corners of the collar, which is pretty neat. And then you also have the traditional bracers here of Gokaija, and then the hands here. And we have here the belt area, which is in gold, a dull gold color, unfortunately. It would be nicer if it was a little bit brighter gold, like up here in the lapel type areas. But it's not, it's a different plastic, obviously. And you can see a sculpted Ranger there, and that's where the keys are produced from, that they pull out and then load into either the Gokai gun or Gokai Saber or the Mobiritz. And it's a separate piece of plastic throughout, and you may notice that there is a plastic film here, and this is how all of the Gokaija figures are packaged, both male and female. They have this plastic film that's right underneath the belt. And when I first got my first Gokaija figure, I was wondering how you're able to remove this, and I found out that you basically have to pull the torso apart. And for the male figures, I didn't understand why that was done in the first place, but for the female figures, it's understandable because of the interchangeable skirt area here. But they did it for both the male and female. So, but basically, you want to pull the upper torso and lower torso apart to be able to remove both the film and also interchange the skirt here. And first, let me show you the details of this particular skirt here. This one has a slit down the side and a piece, one piece going underneath the other. And with this particular skirt, I still find it the figure very posable. You can stretch out the legs to the side, up, forward, and back. The skirt is made of a soft plastic material there, so it's prone to posability and to bend with the posability. So I find that this skirt is still pretty much doable for action poses. And I have to say that the action skirt here is really for more extreme poses. And basically, to put the alternative skirt on this figure, you have to pull the torso apart, which I'll do here. Let me just do it off screen. Here we go. You just pull out the torso, and the belt would come right off there. And you can also remove the plastic film. And then you have here the lower torso skirt area, and you can see the ball joint here. And basically you just lift this skirt up. This actually comes in pieces as well, so this one looks like it's 2 pieces instead of 3. And you can see here the bottom half of the figure, and you have these peg positions on the front and also on the back, and that's for you to, and also looks like on the hips as well. That's for you to align the skirts, because the skirts have peg holes in them, and you can see that right here. This is the action skirt, and the 2 sections of the action skirt. And basically you would take the side portions of the skirt and peg those in first. And you can see one of the sides has a peg hole here you can place into the hip right there. I think I have that backwards. Yeah, I have that backwards. Yeah, you can tell which is the front of the skirt. This one has a little tab. If I can get into focus. Has a little tab here compared to the back of the skirt where it's flat. Basically, you just peg that in to the hole. I might have to do this off screen. There you go. You got one of the sides of the skirt in. You have to pull the leg down. I find it easier to pull the leg down and then place this onto the leg there. And then you just push those legs back up. And then you basically take this top portion and fit that onto the over the ball joint, and then align it with the pegs on the torso. And I have to do this again off screen. There we go. That took a little bit of work, I guess, really, to line up the peg holes into the skirt there to get it flush. You really have to work with it and push those into there. But we have the action skirt here, basically in place, and then you just take the torso and pop the torso back in. And oops, I forgot to put the belt back on. Hold on here. Pull that out, place the belt in place, and then push the figure back into place. And we have Gokai Yellow with the action skirt here. Looks a little misaligned. I may have to redo that sometime later, but this skirt, I guess, is supposed to allow you more freedom of movement. You can see how it moves with the leg here. And like I said, I think it's really to make the sitting position easier and for really extreme poses. But when you have these extreme poses with the legs out to the side, it does look a bit awkward on the action skirt on here. So I don't know if it's really for forward kicks and sitting where this is more effective. But then, taking a look at the rest of the figure from the skirt on down, you have the leggings, just standard black leggings here. And then you have the top of the boots, very similar to the bracers on there. And you have nice sculpted boots in yellow. You can see how the sculpted design of the folds in the boots make it look very, very cool. Overall, a very neat figure. And I actually prefer, like I said, the standard skirt, and I'm going to put that one back on because I like that one a lot better. This just looks very awkward when it's all broken up like that, so I'm going to put that back. Alright, we've got Gokai Yellow back in her standard skirt there. And to go over articulation, the head and neck are separate joints. The head can go all the way around, and side to side tilt, as well as up and down movement on here. And there's a separate articulation point at the base of the neck, pretty much circular movement forward, back, side to side, to allow even greater range of movement of the head overall, which is nice on here. And the head on here seems a little loose, but not bobbleheadish loose, but it's easy, very easy to move the head around, and even though it's a little loose, it still retains the pose when you have it positioned in a certain way. So it's not too bad on that looseness of the head. The arms are on a combination of joints, circular ball joints and hinge joints. The arms can go all the way around, and they can go out and in. And the shoulder itself can move around, basically up and down, forward and back at angles, different degrees of angles, and it makes it easier to pose the arms out to the side to get it underneath the suit there. So basically you just pull down on the arm to make it easier on there. So that's kind of neat. There are swivels at the bicep areas, which I believe are more from the ability to pull off the arms from Gokai Red for those posable arms, folded arm poses. And it looks like they just carried this over to the other Gokaija members. And then you have double hinge joints that allows the arm to go up and down at the elbow. And the hands are joined at the to the arms at the wrists with a balled hinged swivel joint, so you can move the hands all the way around, in and out, and depending on the hinge position, side to side. So nice array of movement for the hands. And the torso, there's basically a upper and mid torso articulation. The upper torso allows the figure to go back and forward and down and side to side and slightly around, but not too much around. That's reserved for the waist area, so you can move the waist all the way around, and you can also move the low or mid torso area forward and back and side to side, and to allow greater articulation of the torso overall. So that's pretty neat. And the legs at the hips are on a combination of hinges and swivels, much like the shoulder. So you can move the leg up, down, back, out to the side, and if you pull the hinge down on the leg, you can extend the leg to allow more freedom of movement or I should say a wider range of movement for the legs. So that's kind of nice. There is a swivel at the top of the thigh, so you can move the leg around, which is nice. It makes it easier to move around with the leg pulled down on there. So that's kind of cool. There are double hinges at the knees to allow the leg to go this far back and that far forward. And there are ball-socketed joints at the ankles that allow you to move the foot barely forward, but you can put it down, and you can get it around, as well as ankle pivot. And there is a toe articulation, so you can bend the toe forward that much forward and about that much back. So overall, a great figure. I really like this figure here, and really an essential figure if you're wanting to put together a Gokaija team. And the Gokaijas are my favorite Super Sentai series, so this is really a must-buy for me. But if you're into Super Sentai or the Gokaijas, I would definitely recommend getting this figure. This is my casual peek into the S.H.Figuarts Gokai Yellow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.